How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the review of Star Wars Squadrons. Oh my goodness. If you saw the series, you probably already know how this review is going to go. But if you're new to this channel, I just want to say welcome. My name's Eric. We do a lot of video game let's plays, gameplays, run throughs on this channel. And at the end of each series, I try to tie it all together. Try to tie the room together with a review of the game. So this one's going to be Star Wars Squadrons. But before we get going, let me just remind you guys of the scale that we review these games on. You have graphics, storyline, controls, and an overall rating. These ratings are out of 10. Oh, before we get into the positives and negatives, let's roll a bit of an intro so you guys know what this game is kind of about. Roll it! Baby, I'm getting chills. Getting chills. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You know what that means, baby. Oh my goodness. Whoa. This is nuts, dude. Loving the graphics in the intro here. Oh my gosh. Are we serious? Now, I doubt I'm going to be able to use this footage because it has some copyrighted music. But I'll see what I can put in. I'm going to do my best. Maybe I have to replace this audio with some... Alright, so we are back. Yeah, it's a Star Wars flight simulator game, as you guys just saw. I start with positives, go into the negatives, and then we give it the overall numerical scores. Let's start out with the positives. This might be a shorter video than other reviews, but let's get into it. Positives. It's Star Wars. So that's kind of cool. You get to fly in different iconic spacecraft. You've got X-Wings, Y-Wings, A-Wings, and on the Imperial side, you've got TIE fighters, TIE bombers, and interceptors. So that's kind of cool, where you normally wouldn't be able to get into the cockpit of all these different spacecraft, but this game gives you that opportunity, and you get to test out multiple spacecraft in various scenarios. So that was kind of cool, seeing what each aircraft does. I guess spacecraft, aircraft. This is space. This is space retro. This is space. So you get to see what each spacecraft does and kind of how it's used and maneuvers and things of that nature. And then you can customize inside of the cockpits and have like little like kind of dash decorations and stuff like that. Um, for me, this is my opinion. This is just a review. For me, that's where the positives end. Unfortunately, it's Star Wars. You get to fly different spacecraft, and you get to customize the cockpit if you have enough like points or whatever. And that's where the positivity ends in this game. Let's move on to the negatives because I've got a ton of them for you. Negativos. Here we go. You play on both sides of the spectrum. You play as the New Republic, and then you play as the Empire. And for me, right off the bat, I kind of understood why they were doing it, but then I'm not invested as a player. I'm not invested because since I'm playing both sides and it doesn't really matter what I do in either side, right? It's just one main story flow that's going to happen regardless. There's no investment for me. There's no consequence for finishing the mission or not finishing the mission, right? The story can't continue unless you finish the mission, right? So whether you're on the Empire side or whether you're on the New Republic side, it doesn't matter. The story is just going to start and end, and that's it. There's nothing you can do about it. So for that, I thought that was a giant negative. It was really pointless. Who cares? Why are we playing both sides? What they should have done is you, at the beginning, choose which side you want to be on. Then there are stakes. It's just not loading up into a game, flying different spacecraft around, and then just it was like reading a book where you knew the ending wasn't going to change no matter what, right? But if you chose sides in the beginning, like I want to be on New Republic, then that has consequences if you lose, right? Or I want to be on the Empire. That has consequences if you win or lose, right? You're more invested in trying to win if you are on a specific side. It gives you the investment to win for whatever side you want. If you want the dark side to reign supreme, then you go hard for the Empire. If you want um, the Republic to reign supreme, you go hard for the New Republic. But in the way they're doing it, where you play both sides, you switch back and forth, there's zero investment for that. Um, let's see here. What's another? The story made zero sense whatsoever. So, of course, you have the Empire and the Republic, and they're fighting yada 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 for whatever, right? Um, the story made zero sense because the New Republic, was making this secret machine called, spoiler alert here, guys, spoiler alert. It's called Project Starhawk, and they made this machine that was supposed to be the end all be all, but they made it out of Empire ships. This indestructible machine made from destroyed ships. What? Does that make sense to anyone? Like, hey, let's make this machine that can't be destroyed. But we're gonna use all these destroyed parts over here. Like, what? That doesn't make zero sense whatsoever, right? And then again, spoiler here. Um, once their Project Starhawk gets destroyed, right? Obviously, it's made from destroyed pieces of other ships. So once that indestructible thing gets destroyed, their plan is to make more of these machines. It's so convoluted. It makes zero sense on why this would work. Like, okay, let's make an indestructible machine from destroyed parts of other machines from other ships. Our indestructible ship gets destroyed. What's our next? What's our plan B? You know? Oh, hey, I have an idea. Let's make more of them. We just had the one, but if we had more of them, then there's no way they could destroy them. It just doesn't make any sense. It's so stupid. Um, all right, so there's that. The storyline made no sense. Um, here is another negative, and this is just on the side of, well, I guess it could be either side, right? You have zero relationship between yourself as the pilot and the droid. Now, for some people, you're probably like, well, who cares? Like, whatever. But if you're a Star Wars fan, or you know that if you're flying an X-wing and you don't have a relationship with your R2 unit in the back, that R2 unit isn't going to do jack squat for you. It's not going to repair your ship. It's not going to, fix any engine malfunctions. It's not going to do anything for you, right? So there's zero droid relation building in the entire game, which I think they missed out on an opportunity to kind of make the game feel personable. Again, this game had zero stakes in playing. So again, zero relationship with the droids. Very little effort went into the characters' dialogue. Um, it felt phoned in. It felt like they just pumped out this game just to pump it out because Fallen Order was so gorgeous and beautiful. They were like, let's do another Star Wars game. Star Wars sells no matter what. So let's just pump it out. It doesn't matter if it's a hot steaming pile of poop, you know? And this is what we got. We got Star Wars Squadrons. So in the docks, either on the Republic side or the Empire side, you had the opportunity to talk to various people in the hangars. But the dialogues mean absolutely nothing. It doesn't strengthen your relationships with anyone. It would be different, right, if through talking to these specific people, these off characters, right, you build a relationship with them, 6 out of 10 relationship, 7 out of 10 relationship, or whatever it is. And the stronger your relationship is with whoever's you're talking to, the better they do for you in the missions. That gives you stakes. This game felt so flat and dead, So there's these little things that this company could have done. They could have done to enhance the play of this game, and they just didn't. Um, it's space. When you're out there flying around, it's space. There are zero directions, and like up, down, left, right. Whatever. It's space. So it is super easy to get lost and disoriented when you're flying around. Many times I found myself flying quote unquote upside down and I didn't even know until I hit something. Or I didn't, the spatial reasoning just wasn't there. I'm just flying around banging into things, and then 80% of the missions I'm flying around just thinking, what am I supposed to be doing? Who am I supposed to be shooting? What is happening? See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, where are they? There should be like dots or something to like let me know where these things are. I'm just like flying around like a moron, dude. So again, negative for me, but disclaimer, I will say I'm not very good at flight simulators. So that could be a big factor of why I was so disoriented. So if you're not an experienced flight simulator player, again, I bet you're going to run into similar issues that I did where you're going to feel disoriented, you're going to feel lost, you're not going to know what to do until you run into an asteroid, and then you kind of correct yourself and by that time you're blown up, and then you restart the mission, so it was very frustrating. So, also on that note, and if you guys wonder why I keep looking down, I have all my notes on reviews in my phone so I don't get sidetracked or lost myself. Um, it was the targeting systems. The targeting systems don't work. Please just lock onto an enemy. Gosh, please, just let me lock onto an enemy. I found myself in the majority of dogfights targeting my own teammates. I would go destroy an enemy and then try to target onto the next enemy, and it would just shoot me over and target one of my allied ships. Why? Why? Do they want me to engage with my ally ships? I don't understand why it didn't just flick on to the next target that I was supposed to be shooting. So again, the majority of the game, I'm just flying around trying to find things to shoot that were viable for me to shoot. Let's go on to the next negative here. Again, it's just one big flight simulator. And for me, I don't have, this is just me. Maybe you are a flight simulator master, but I don't have too much flight simulator experience. So the game wasn't enjoyable. The mechanics weren't enjoyable. It didn't ease you into flight simulation. It just said, here you go. Let's slap you into the cockpit of an X-Wing and bye-bye, go off on your mission. There weren't any skill building to this, or very little skill building. And then all the missions were the same. You get in your ship, you fly around, you blow stuff up, you fly back. That was it on the variety of missions. You fly in, you blow up, you fly back, go on to the next mission. There was zero variety, and again, it goes back to story writing, story development. There was almost zero arc to this campaign. It just felt flat the entire way. And then for me, there's zero replay value in this game. You just do it, you go in, you go, whatever, you finish the missions, you see whatever narrative has been drawn out for you. You have zero stakes in the game, one way or the other, and the game ends. Um, Congratulations. Zero replay value. Like, there's no reason for me to go back and replay these missions because they're the same. Every single mission is the same. Um, Maybe if you want to get really good at flight simulation, you might want to go back and try to get a better rank at the end of each mission. But there were zero side missions. Every mission was you fly out, you shoot stuff, you come back. There was no stealth, there were no other dynamics to the game that made it interesting for me to play. Let's see here. The mission briefings, when you're in the briefing room and they're telling you about the missions that you're supposed to go on, your next mission, they all sounded like suicide missions. You go out, you're just going to get blasted. The odds were always against you, and okay, that's fine for a few missions, right? Because I get it, resources are tight. Republic doesn't have a lot of resources. The Empire always has all the resources. I get that, but every single mission, you're just like, oh my goodness, dude, they have this X, Y, Z. We're gonna get bombarded by this X, Y, Z, and you're like, in real life, we would just perish. There was almost they weren't well thought out, and they weren't tactical at all. They were just like go out there and blow stuff up and then come back. So here's another negative. My list of negatives fairly long because this game just did not live up to the expectation that I thought it was going to live up to. Naming your character in the beginning, you get to name two characters, one on the Empire and one on the New Republic side. It doesn't matter what you call them. You could literally name them whatever you want because they never mention you by that name. They never refer to you by that name in text, in subtext, in whatever subtitles. You are giving a nickname right off the get go. So, why in the world do we even name the characters? You're trying to add a aspect of personability and ruining it right off the bat by just never mentioning it again. So again, this game, why are we like there's no stake in it for me to do anything customizable in the game because the game is flat. It just has one narrative and it just rushes to you from point A to point Z and game over. So again, cool, you get to name your character whatever you want. Cool, name it after yourself. Name it after, your pet dog. I don't care because they're never gonna say that name in the game ever. They're just gonna give you a generic nickname and that's all you are to them. Um, and then here is the biggest issue I have. And again, I could make another episode on just the negatives of this game, but this is the last negative I'm going to post in this. Um, you play as neither a hero or a villain. Not only do you play both sides of the coin, but when you're in each establishment, either you're in the Empire missions or you're in the New Republic missions, you're neither a hero or a villain. And what I mean by that is this: let's say we were playing a superhero game, right? You, as the player, want to either be a superhero or a villain, right? You want to be the main star. Nobody plays a superhero game and wants to be playing as citizen number 8 and you just walk around town and you see, everything else and all the leaders do their thing. Nobody wants to play as citizen number 8, right? But that's what this game is. You are an infantry personnel, completely replaceable at any moment. You are a tiny cog in the big machine. So again, zero investment Why do I want to play as a tiny cog? Oh, sure, you get promoted or whatever, but who cares? Because even when you get promoted, your choices don't matter. In fact, you don't even get choices. It's just one story that is just on autopilot. So again, this game, in my opinion, a big stinker. Now let's get into the numerical values on this. We rate games, or at least I rate games here after each series out of these categories: graphics, storyline, and controls, and then an overall numerical score. Each of these categories are out of 10, so let's get going on this. Graphics. I'm going to give graphics a 4 out of 10. Very low score, I get it. But um, it did have some Star Wars esque charm to it, so I enjoyed it. The droids were good, but again, they're not as stunning as the previous Star Wars game, Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order. Um, that game is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. Star Wars Squadrons, I give it 4 out of 10. I don't know if I would even go higher because the majority of the game is in space and it's just the surroundings are very boring. Absolute snooze fest because it's just space. It's just space and rock. Now, what they could have done is chosen to do some missions on different planets. Give give the scenery some variety. You're bobbing and weaving through some topography, but no, it's just space and rocks. So for that, 4 out of 10. The ships were kind of cool. Um, they're somewhat detailed, but overall, 4 out of 10 on the graphics. Storyline. I went back and forth on this, but I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10 for the storyline. Again, the storyline was so convoluted. It was so poorly written. Again, this was the plot. The New Republic was building this indestructible starship out of destroyed parts of Empire ships. Their awesome indestructible project called Starhawk gets destroyed. Their solution to it is to build more Starhawks. It's so dumb. So 2 out of 10 on that storyline. And then the controls. I'm giving the controls a 2 out of 10 as well because, and this is me being biased. One, I'm not a flight simulator pro. So flying games and things of that nature that are fast paced, dogfight ish. I get disoriented very easily. Even more so in this game because it's space. There's no reference points. I got disoriented very, very easily. Also, even though you do fly in, and you fly in various ships and models, each ship doesn't perform the same. So you're expected to master different ships in a very short amount of time with all different controls, and they all have different abilities, and they all do different things, and they all handle differently. But they don't give you any prep time. They don't give you any training on these things. They just expect you to know how to do it. And for that, the controls aren't very intuitive, and you find yourself flying around just wondering what you're supposed to be doing 80% of the time. So for that, 2 out of 10 on the controls. And then also 2 out of 10 because the tracking doesn't work. It's like you can't even track, you can't even target what you want to target. So 2 out of 10. And then overall, this game gets the lowest score of any game that has been reviewed on the Retroezbake channel thus far. It gets a resounding 2.6 out of 10. So womp womp. Again, this is just my opinion on the game. Maybe you have a different opinion on it. If you do want to check it out, I believe it is for sale um, on Epic and Steam. So go ahead and check it out if you would like. I'm not going to stop anyone from playing this game, but if you were on the fence on this game and you asked me as a friend, you say, "Oh, hey friend Retroezbake, should I buy this game?" I'm going to tell you no. You can skip it. There are plenty of other games out there that are better than this one. And if you want your Star Wars fix, I would suggest Jedi Fallen Order as the far superior Star Wars game. So that's going to be it on this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, if this review helped you guys out make a tough decision or possibly save a few bucks, hit me with that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because we do a lot of video game Let's Plays here. If you have any suggestions at all for the next campaign, please leave it down in the comments below and ring a ding that bell so you don't miss out on any of the action here on the Retroezbake channel. And I also want to drop in there that I do stream on Twitch Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. So if live gaming is your thing and you want to interact with me in chat in real time, head on over to twitch.tv/RetroEasyBake, and I hope to see you all in chat real soon. That's going to do it for me. Peace out and be good, everyone.